Welcome to the video, guys. The media are still rabbiting on about Dominic Cummings and his trip to Durham. This morning, they had Tom Harwood on the BBC Breakfast Show alongside Tim Montgomery, who once was a Boris Johnson supporter, but has joined in with the media in attacking him and Dominic Cummings, which has also been done by a group of MPs who will be called out later because, as I said in my video yesterday, they are essentially doing exactly the same thing as the Tory MPs did, who betrayed Boris last year in relation to Brexit, which I do have to point out, this whole scenario surrounding Dominic Cummings is rather funny timing because, of course, the deadline for an extension to the Brexit transition period is coming up in a short few weeks. So trying to remove him from Downing Street at this time is, in my opinion, rather suspicious timing. But Tom Harwood, when he appeared on the BBC earlier, absolutely destroyed the narrative and called out the complete hypocrisy around the countless reporters that were surrounding Dominic Cummings yesterday outside his house, as I'm sure most of you have seen. Now, not only does he efficiently destroy the media's narrative on this and also point out that Dominic Cummings broke no laws, while 4 other Labour MPs at least have been caught breaking the lockdown rules since it all started in March, as we will see in a moment. You can hear during the clips that I'm going to show you the BBC reporters trying their best to cope with what Tom Harwood is saying, but he is spot on and they have got nothing for it. The guy did some research before coming on. Unfortunately, the BBC didn't. They certainly wasn't ready for him pointing out facts about the Labour MPs and, of course, the media hypocrisy that we will see in a moment. So let's get into it.
Is it a case that Boris Johnson is fearful of being without Dominic Cummings, or that he feels Dominic Cummings has so much to offer that he has to keep him?
Well, I don't think we can deny how central Dominic Cummings is within the Downing Street machine and how ludicrous it would be to almost rip apart the process of reform that was overwhelmingly backed by the country just a few months ago, a higher share of the vote than even Tony Blair achieved in 1997, and to throw away the man that was masterminding the sort of public service reform that we're going to need if we're going to recover from the horrible coronavirus crisis that we're in right now. To throw all that away for the sake of a car journey, I think, if we take the heat out of this conversation, looks ludicrous. And so to some extent, that is a part of it. But also there's the other half of this, that we don't live in a country run whereby the media is judge, jury and executioner. We shouldn't have trial by media in this country. And I think the witch hunt that is going on right now is a lot of personal vendettas and a lot of almost sort of game playing by the media in terms of delivering that scalp that they want to see. And I think that that's pretty unedifying.
It's not just the media. You know, many people have been in touch with BBC Breakfast who are genuinely upset, Tom, and confused and worried by what he has allegedly done and the impact that has on the very important public health message. I mean, for that reason, do you think they should be looking at whether he stays or goes?
Boris Johnson is afraid of getting rid of Dominic Cummings. Of course, that is not what it is. He is just not a dirty snake that is going to get rid of someone who helped him gain an 80-seat majority in the Houses of Parliament, making him the Prime Minister. You know, loyalty. As I've said already, the guy has done nothing wrong, and Tom Harwood perfectly points that out in that clip as you heard, along with pointing out how ludicrous it would be for the Tory government to destroy the work that Dominic Cummings is doing in relation to the civil service that we all know, given what they tweeted out yesterday, certainly needs to be done, and as by the election result, showed the people of this country actually support. It wasn't just the swamp in Parliament that needed to be drained, and like I said, yesterday proved that to us. Which I feel is unfortunate that Tom Harwood didn't point out during this interview. Along with, of course, the fact, like I said, that the Brexit extension deadline is fast approaching and these media hags and Ramonas, it would seem, have an agenda around that if you consider the timing. But the moment he points out there is another half to this, and that is the fact that the media are not judge, jury and executioner when it comes to government advisors or anything else, which is what they are essentially trying to be. Trial by media and political shitweasels with clear agendas against this this man coming out left, right and centre, and pointing out on national TV that this is a witch hunt by people with personal vendettas against Dominic Cummings has just absolutely destroyed the BBC, and you can hear that in the way the host tries to interrupt him and interject, because obviously they know they are getting absolutely destroyed by Tom Harwood here. Her claim that it's not just the media is ludicrous. While it may not directly just be the media, it's the media that have literally pumped it out 24 hours a day constantly over the last day or two. Everyone's seen it, it's all they've been talking about. Sky News was tweeting out about it every couple of minutes yesterday, even regurgitating the same articles on their Twitter every hour or so that I actually tweeted about. The whole reporting on it has been disingenuous, with a clear political bias and a name. That is to get rid of the government's advisor that they haven't liked at all since he was given the job. Remember back to last year what they were doing, guys. But let's move on and check out the other clip that I have from this interview.
Well, I don't think that Dominic Cummings would accept that by any stretch. There are clear exemptions within those guidelines that were set out not only in the text of the guidelines online, but also by Dr. Jenny Harries in a press conference on the 24th of March before Dominic Cummings made that trip up to Durham. She was saying the specific exemptions that lie around safeguarding of children. So no, this isn't a clear-cut case, and I think that anyone's who's trying to say that absolutely indefatigably he broke the rules is not being honest with people. And ultimately there are cases in this country of politicians who have indefatigably broken the rules, like the Labour Welsh Health Secretary who took a picnic against the rules of his government, like Stephen Kinnock, who drove hundreds of miles to see his parents, like Tahir Ali, the Labour MP who went to a funeral with 100 other people, like Kevin Jones, the Labour MP who went to a birthday party. Now, these are clear breaches of the rules, and yet Keir Starmer has not called for them to go, and yet Dominic Cummings' case is not a clear breach of the rules. There might be some ambiguity to do with how it looks, and I'll certainly agree with you, it's not a good look and it has taken up media time. But is it really the case that something that is within the letter of the law but doesn't look very good is worth a resignation? And yet those four Labour politicians who have done far more than Dominic Cummings to break and really make a mockery out of the rules, and they stay and they keep their jobs. I think that that is an outrageous double standard perpetuated by a media that was outside Dominic Cummings' house yesterday, standing shoulder to shoulder, packed in like sardines, making the most horrendous mockery out of those restrictions and calling him a hypocrite. I think that the double standards here are extraordinary and need to be exposed.
OK, Tom, and just for balance, you said something, I picked up on certainly on something you said about Vaughan Gething. I mean, he didn't actually break any rules. What he did was went on a local walk and stopped to eat with his family, then continued their daily exercise to get home. He says he broke no rules. He says he broke no rules.
To be clear, picnics in the park were outlawed in Wales.
He says he broke no rules, just as Dominic Cummings says he broke no rules.
So at the start of that clip there, Tom Harwood once again completely rubbishes the media narrative around this by pointing out he broke absolutely no rules yet again, and how a Public Health England doctor had actually appeared in the daily briefing on the 24th of March to point out the exemptions, which of course is exactly what Dominic Cummings used, and obviously should have ended this story there, but the media have a clear agenda here, and it's against Dominic Cummings with the hope of getting rid of him. They really thought yesterday when he went to number 10 that Boris Johnson was going to fire him. I was almost certain that he wouldn't, because it would make him look weak and as if he bowed down to the media and that they are really in charge and he is not. I mean, you can even hear the BBC hosts huffing and puffing in the background during that clip, because obviously they know he is absolutely shitting all over them. And when he points out the multiple Labour MPs who have breached the lockdown rules by attending a picnic, going to see their dad on his birthday, and of course the piss-taking Labour MP who thought it was a good idea to attend a funeral with 100 other people, when many people in this country have not been able to attend funerals of loved ones because of this situation. And the piss-poor police service actually went there and said it is fine, they are social distancing. What a complete load of shit that is obviously perpetuated by the media. It's an utter disgrace if you ask me. But I have to say, one of the best points that he makes is when when he points out all of the journalists outside Dominic Cummings' house who were certainly not observing social distancing. You saw them, they were all literally huddled around each other, sticking cameras and things in his face. Which, last I checked, is definitely against the lockdown rules. But it doesn't matter for the journalists, the police are nowhere to be seen when it comes to them. They can do what they want and crowd around anywhere, as you have seen. You even hear the BBC host trying to interrupt him to get him to stop because he is completely shitting all over their narrative, and I absolutely loved it. Well done, Tom. You completely took them to the cleaners. They had absolutely nothing for you. But if ever you needed any more proof that this was a political witch hunt, this shit show of an interview here, that Tom Harwood absolutely smashed. The media are a complete joke at the end of the day. There are many things they could hold the Tory government to task over that would make us happy. Obviously, they don't care about that. They're more interested in pushing their agendas and those it would seem they serve. But on that note, guys, I am going to end the video there. Now, before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now, as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.